The night I shattered their perfect facade, I finally claimed my voice. The courtyard glowed under a lattice of fairy lights woven through ancient live oaks, the air thick with jasmine and the hum of a cello duet. It was my parents' 50th anniversary, a spectacle of curated elegance, ivory silk table runners, hand-blown glassware, and a spread of artisanal charcuterie that cost more than my rent. I lingered at the table's far end, as always, near enough to top off the Chardonnay, far enough to be invisible. My sister, Lila, commanded the spotlight, her laughter sharp as she spun tales of her pottery studio's latest triumphs, a feature in a national design blog, a celebrity client's custom vase order, a viral reel showcasing her clay-spun art. Dad's eyes gleamed with pride. Mom's smile was a brittle veneer, polished but fragile. When the lavender panna cotta arrived, sourced from a chic patisserie Lila's in turn raved about, she leaned forward, glass raised, her voice slicing through the cello's hum. "So, Mara," she said, loud enough to halt the servers, "what's it like to be the least relevant person here?" A ripple of laughter spilled across the table, sharp and cold, like ice cracking underfoot. Dad's chuckle was hearty, untroubled. Mom's lips curved in a half-smile, complicit in her silence. Lila's partner grinned, swirling his wine. I didn't blink. My hands, steady on my napkin, rose to the table's edge. My voice was soft but cut like a blade through the music. "What's it like," I said, eyes locked on Lila, "to know the least relevant person won't be funding your dreams anymore?" The courtyard went still. Glasses froze mid-sip. A server coughed. Lila's grin crumbled, her face a storm of shock and venom. I stood, my chair grating against the slate tiles. No one spoke as I crossed the courtyard, past the fairy lights, past the cello's mournful notes, through the wrought iron gate, and into the night. My boots crunched on the gravel path, each step a vow. They didn't see it yet, but the tide had turned. I was 13 when I caught the tremor in my mother's voice through the pantry door, whispering about a missed loan payment and a looming tax bill. Dad's consulting firm had lost a major contract. I'd been stacking magazines at a corner newsstand for $6.50 an hour. That night, I counted out $900 from my tin box and slid it under Dad's office door. He didn't thank me, he called me solid. A month later, Lila got a custom-painted motorcycle for her 16th birthday, gleaming under the streetlights. She revved it, grinning, while my parents clapped. My $900 was never mentioned. By 16, I was bussing tables at a waterfront bistro, slipping Dad $400 for a new printer when his broke. He patted my shoulder, called me the family's anchor. At 19, I won a partial grant to study poetry in Dublin. I clutched the letter, dreaming of cobblestone streets, but Lila's design school fees were overdue, her loft lease eating her tips. Dad's tone was final, "We're a team, Mara." I sent $4,500 to her school, my Dublin dream fading. Lila graduated with a showcase my parents framed. I scraped through a local college, balancing online courses and bar shifts. For Lila's engagement party, I paid the caterer. When she opened her pottery studio, Clay and Bloom, I co-signed her loan. They called me steady, dutiful, never Mara, never thanked. It was a Wednesday, past midnight, when Lila's name flashed on my phone. I was sketching in my loft, coffee cold. "Mara, hi." Her voice was all honey, like we talked daily. "The studio's thriving, but there's this warehouse space, perfect for classes. The bank needs a cosigner for $90,000. You're so good with budgets. Can you swing it?" Like it was pocket change. "That's not nothing, Lila," I said. She laughed, sharp. "You're in that little loft, writing reports for nonprofits. No kids, no mortgage. It's not like you're changing lives." My jaw tightened. "No," I said. A pause. "No, you won't help?" "No, I'm done saving you." I hung up. In the silence, I opened my laptop, clicking a folder labeled Evidence. Every receipt, transfer, email since I was 13, school fees, studio rent, vendor payments. At the bottom, a notarized contract from June 2018, 51% ownership of Clay and Bloom, signed by Lila in a frantic haze when her studio faced eviction. I'd drained my savings, $80,000, to keep her afloat. She forgot. I didn't. At the anniversary, my words hit like a thunderclap. Your design school fees? I said, staring at Lila. Me. The studio's rent when your kiln broke? Me. Your staff's wages for 5 quarters? All me. I turned to my parents. Your car loan, the party caterer, the new HVAC, my money. Lila's lips parted, silent. I thought family meant holding it together, I said. I thought being useful meant being seen. I set a leather portfolio on the table, unopened. This proves I've covered $140,000 for you all since I was 13. Including the contract owning most of Clay and Bloom. Lila flinched. You're bluffing. June 2018, you were begging. I saved you. Dad stood, voice low. This is betrayal, Mara. No, I said. It's truth. I walked out. The next week, I stopped the $2,800 monthly transfer to Lila's studio. Her texts poured in, rent failed, suppliers cut her off. By Friday, she and Dad arrived at my loft. Lila's voice was venom. You're ruining me. I spread the portfolio on my table, receipts, emails, the contract. This is what I've carried, I said. Dad's tone was iron. Fix this, Mara. We don't fracture. I've been the glue, I said. You just didn't look. Lila gripped the portfolio, silent. They left without a word. A month later, a lawsuit landed. Lila claimed I'd tricked her into signing over her studio. My lawyer, Elise Tran, laughed. This is noise, not law. At the hearing, Lila's attorney spun a tale of deceit. Elise presented my records, $80,000 wired, debts cleared, all signed. The judge tossed the case in minutes. Outside, the air was crisp. I was free, not just from the suit, but from their weight. No one called after. My mother texted once, thinking of you, love. I didn't reply. I bought a new sketchpad, drew for hours, lines bold and unapologetic. A friend invited me to speak at a creative summit on redefining strength. I stood at the mic, no script. I thought love meant carrying their failures, I said. But I learned to carry myself. The crowd was still, then clapped, raw and real. A woman in the back wiped her face. That night, under a sky sharp with stars, paint on my knuckles, I was no one's savior, just Mara, unbound.